Well,
There you
that
go.
Awesome.
we all try to figure this out. But congratulations on your marriage
Thank you.
last year, Fabienne. And I don't know if I'm allowed to, but I'm saying it anyway. Congratulations on being a future mother. Uh,
Yeah, thank you.
and that,
I'm
yeah, as I said, April 20th is a great due date.
yeah, it's coming
Uh,
up quick.
we'll get it back down to
Hello.
yeah, some of the things that we're trying to do with this veterans mastermind is to make visible uh, all the tools and the people and their offers and what they're doing. And most of the folks joining today are already a part of our international business group, Achieve Systems. Um, this kind of came about 2 years ago. I was on some other veterans websites, and I've always felt that I've been very fortunate in my career um, because I was always able to keep going forward. And that not that people said you had to do this and you have to get this, but things that I was exposed to came to light and people came into my life. Achieve is a part of that, and that um, Fabienne has become an intricate part of my business and the campaigns for this group and so many different areas. Fabienne lives down in Jupiter, Florida. We met, I guess, about 2 years ago at a conference.
Mhm.
She jumped on a plane and came to one of our conferences, and it's interesting because I get hammered with everybody wanting to be my virtual assistant. They're from India, they're from the Philippines, they're from who knows where. You don't really know that that's where they're from. They just tell you that's where they're from. Um, and I really wanted to be able to communicate. I had a group that I worked with. It was a different VA every day putting campaigns together for me and caused me some grief because they would post before I would approve and said things that I would not have said. Um, and Fabienne and I had this discussion. I said, um, I'm looking for somebody that's professional. No, I don't want to pay the highest price in the world, but I don't want to pay the lowest price in the world either. There's certain things that I want. I want to know that I'm communicating and that I can understand. And we have an agreement that when you're putting stuff up for me, I just want to know how to push the buttons. I don't care how they work. You have to make them work. And Fabienne has done this for me. She's made my life a heck of a lot easier. And for being the old guy in the room so often, I have this uh, attitude about young people that when I was about 32 years old, I had one of my mentors who was much older than me come to me. He said, Mac, you're a real hot shot. Everybody in the country is talking about you, but nobody trusts you because you're only in your 30s. He said, when you're 40, people will automatically trust you until you prove them wrong. And for about 40 years now, I've always remember that. I tend to laugh at young people because when we were all young, we all thought we had all the answers. Um, so we had to work twice as hard to show people that we knew what we were doing, that we were professional and we were capable, and that we took their business seriously also. So, Fabian, I think it goes without saying I'm very satisfied with what you do for me. And I'm looking forward to this today because I think anybody in business needs to understand where their strength is. So
Yeah.
often we want to do things ourselves and that because we got to save a buck, but that's not always the best thought process. And if I
Yeah.
can go out and make 3 or 4 or $500 an hour, and you're charging me 10% of that, so I can go out and do that, you're hired. You're on board. Take care of it. Don't screw up where I look bad. And uh, thank you for all that you do for me personally. I'm going to let you turn this over because I think people need to
Okay.
know what you do and what to expect from a professional that is basically stepping into a role that a lot of owners cannot do themselves in a cost-effective manner.
hmm will you allow me to share my screen? I'm going to send you a request.
Sure.
Okay, perfect. Let me share my screen. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome, perfect. Okay, well, I want to start with thank you for that, Mac. That was a really great introduction. We have been working together for a while now. And yeah, I'm really excited to talk to you guys today. And also thank you all for being here. So what I want to start with is this talk. Okay, before I start, actually, if I sound out of breath, I just want to apologize. It is because I'm like 7 months pregnant. So I do apologize for that. But I want to start with saying that this talk is not necessarily about tools, it's not about software, and it's definitely not about doing more. It's about understanding why growth starts to feel heavier, even when things are technically going well in your business. Um, so let me start with introducing myself. So my name is Fabienne Faulmann. I started as a VA. I'm now a systems strategist. I work with service-based businesses to design back-end systems, workflows, SOPs, automations, all of that good fun stuff. So that's the stuff that actually supports the growth in your business instead of creating more friction. So yeah, as Max said, that's not where I started. I did not wake up one day and said, I want to build systems in businesses. I ended up here because I saw the same problems over and over again from the inside in businesses. So earlier in my career, as Meg said, I worked as a virtual assistant for many, many years. And I still, I think my role currently overlaps with that a little bit. But that role gave me a lot, it gave me a front row seat into how businesses actually operate behind the scenes. So not how they look on social media, not how they're supposed to run, but how work really gets done. Okay. And this is what I noticed. Most businesses don't fail because of a lack of effort. They fail or stall because everything depends on one person holding it all together. And that's probably you, like the business owner, right? Can any of you guys relate to this? Okay, awesome, perfect. So I saw founders who were answering every question, remembering every exception to every rule, fixing every small issue. They're constantly stepping in to keep things moving. And from the outside, they look really successful, but behind the scenes, they're probably exhausted. And I don't know if you guys can relate, but I've seen tons of business owners. They're just like barely keeping it together. It's crazy. Um, and as their business grows, the cracks they become more obvious. So it might work at the beginning for you to, you know, control everything and keep your hands on everything. But as your business grows, those cracks and you being that bottleneck, it becomes more obvious in your business. Um, so the same system, yeah, like I just said, the same systems that worked at the beginning, they're not going to work anymore. So hiring is actually not going to fix that, and new tools is not going to fix that, and automations, though people may think it's going to fix it, it's also not going to fix it. It's really truly um, a systems. It starts with systems in your business, and that's what we're going to cover today. So that's a little bit about myself. Okay. Um, so most business owners I work with don't come to me because things are failing. They come to me because things are working, but things are feeling harder than they should. Okay. So you're working more, you're answering more questions, you're stepping in more often. It's starting to feel fragile. Like if you step away, something will drop. Who here feels that way or has felt that way? Okay, awesome. Um, if this, sorry, if this sounds familiar, I want you to hear this clearly. That feeling is not a personal failure. Okay. All right. Most founders assume this feeling means they need to be more disciplined. You think, I need to tighten up, I need to push harder, I need to stay on top of things better. But discipline is not the issue. And I can say this very, what's the word that I'm looking for? I don't know. I can say this very it's not coming to me, but discipline is not the issue because you've built the business essentially. You've made it this far. You've already put all of these things together. You had the idea, you put it together. That alone takes discipline. So that's not the issue that you're having. It's not a motivational issue, and it's definitely not a work ethic issue, especially if you're a veteran. You have work ethic. You've come a long way. It's truly a systems gap. Okay. And systems gaps don't get fixed by trying harder. Um, so this is especially true for veteran business owners. You're trained to adapt. Let me ask, who here is a veteran besides Mac? Okay, awesome. Cool. Very nice. Thank you guys all for your service. Um, as an American, I really appreciate it. So yeah, you're trained to adapt, you're trained to step in, you're trained to make things work under pressure as a veteran. Um, and that adaptability is a strength. And it's probably what helped you build your business in the first place. But here's the shift that has to happen as your business grows. Businesses don't scale on adaptability alone, they scale on repeatability. Okay. Let that sink in for a minute. They scale on repeatability, not adaptability. Okay. So heroics work short term and repeatable systems work long term. Okay. So when things start to feel messy, the first instinct is usually automation. Um, so new tools, new platforms, new workflows. Who here is guilty of that? But we've all been there. But here's the truth most people don't hear. Automation doesn't fix broken system. It multiplies that issue, okay? So it really truly starts with your systems. If onboarding, for example, if onboarding in your business is unclear, then automation just creates a faster confusion. So if a process relies on memory, automation just hides the problem until it breaks. It's not gonna fix the initial systems problem or the basic systems problem in your business. It's essentially just a multiplier. It's not a shortcut. And there is a place and time in your business for automation. I firmly believe in it. Mac knows we automate, but we have to create the systems first before we create those automations. Okay. So let's break down what a system is. A system is not a tool. It's how work moves through your business with or without a software. So if something gets done, there's a system. Even if it lives in your inbox, even if it's in your head, or if it's something that only works when you remember, it's still a system, okay? So the problem is not that you don't have systems. The problem is that most of those systems are invisible to the rest of us, or to, um, yeah, essentially to the rest of us. They live in your head. They're in your email. Only you know about them. And you can't really build on that, if that makes sense. So systems break when, and I kind of already mentioned this, but they break when they live in your head, when they rely on memory, and when they only work when you step in. So here's the hard part. In many growing businesses, the founder is the system. Okay. Raise your hand if that's you in your business. Okay. Awesome. So that works great when you're starting a business until it doesn't. Um, because businesses that don't depend on one person to remember everything, or sorry, businesses that do depend on one person to remember everything, those are fragile businesses by design, and it's impossible to scale when everything depends on you as the business owner. Okay, so I want to cover the four most common mistakes across industries and business models that I've seen. So let's get into those. So the first mistake is automating before the process is clear. And we've kind of briefly covered this. If you can't clearly explain a process to another human, you can't explain it to a system. Okay. So automation should never come first. Clarity should come first. Okay. Clarity on your systems. So software should support decisions, not replace thinking. Okay. Number two is vague SOPs. So things like send the email, or set up the client, or follow up as needed, those are really not systems. They're just reminders for you. Val, you have a question? Oh, sorry, your hand was up. I was okay. So good SOPs answer these questions. When does this happen? Who owns it? What determines the next step? So if those are the three questions you want to ask yourself to start writing an SOP. And if it requires interpretation every time, it's not ready for automation. Okay. Number three is building processes that only work because someone remembers how to handle exceptions. So if a process only works because you're watching it, stepping in, or fixing it, that's a risk. That's not a system. That's what keeps you from being able to step away from your business. So this is usually where delegation breaks. This is where your automations break. And this is also where your burnout starts. Okay. So systems should still work when you're unavailable. When you're on vacation, your business should be able to run without you. There's always going to be something that you'll have to do because you have your own set of things, but the general systems and processes in your business, they should still work without you. Okay. And the fourth mistake is trying to fix everything at the same time. So when everything feels broken in your business, that's when everything feels urgent, but urgency is not the same as importance. So you don't need to overhaul your entire business. You just need to start with one system and in one place. Okay. Any questions so far? Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, in following you uh on this, I think back on my career, and you know, um I tried doing it with family members, uh high school students that didn't need to make as much money. Um and it was a challenge because you tried to guide, but I didn't know myself. what was necessary. How does somebody get started? When do they uh when is the right time for a business owner to say, hey, I can do other things really good, and that's what brings in the money, but I got to do have the busy work done. When do you make that decision? And maybe I'm jumping in.
So,
I apologize.
no, you're good. That's a really good question. So, um, to be honest, the sooner you can start making that decision, I know that part of it is financial, obviously, but the sooner you can start getting in the systems and the SOPs and the workflows in your business, the better. So you can start your business, holding everything together, but you once you grow to a certain point, it's going to become harder and harder for you to go back and redo and actually create all those systems and processes in your business. So my advice is always the sooner you can start doing it, the better, because it's going to set you up for success in the long run. Does that kind of answer the question for you?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, of course. Um, so moving forward, before you automate anything, you need these three things. First, you need a clear process. You need to know where it starts, where it ends, and what happens in between. Okay. Second, you need defined ownership. So automation doesn't remove accountability, it just clarifies it. Okay. And then third, you need one priority system. Okay. Not five, not everything, just one. Okay. Um, so here's the question I want you to take, or I want you to take with you on your way, or ask yourself right now. If this one system worked better, what would feel lighter? I'm going to repeat it. So, if this one system worked better, what would feel lighter? And the answer should be kind of obvious to you, but I would love to hear what you guys thought of, like what came to mind first.
Can I ask a question that's not that?
Yeah, yeah, that's fine too.
Do-
Yeah.
we have really good systems and uh and well documented. I mean, the whole works. But I realize it needs cleaning up. Is that
Mhm.
the kind of thing you also do as you go in, clean
Yeah.
people? Is that okay? All right, you could, yeah, okay. I thought so, but I wanted to be sure.
That is, yeah, 100%. Yeah. I think, like I kind of mentioned with Mac, a lot of people ran with whatever they started with, and it works, but it could be better, right?
Yeah.
There's things that could be cleaner, that could be more defined. So yes, I do both fresh setups, which is usually projects, and then also just cleanup type things where we're going in, we're working with what you've already got, but we're making it better.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm All right.
Awesome.
Did anyone think of a system that they could think of that would help them feel lighter?
Well, I have a really different business. I've been doing oral histories of World War II POWs for the last 32 years, and now I'm getting to the point where we're building a platform. We're going to see if we can monetize it in several different ways: books, possibly a movie, possibly leasing it to other people to use it. But I hadn't done a lot of systems, and I did everything. And now I've got someone who is cataloging my books and all of the documents that I have in my files. I've got a lawyer who is checking to make sure that every step I make is not going to violate copyright. And I don't really know what else, because I'm the only one that has it here. I've got it written down, but it's all here. And that I can't take my head off and give it to somebody.
No, no, you cannot. No.
No.
Um, but I think to grow your business to where you eventually have other team members that are able to help you with it, you are going to want to get the stuff out of your head and onto paper. So that would be my recommendation, is, or first step for you, is to essentially write SOPs, so standard operating procedures. So, and those can be, it doesn't have to be, if this email comes in, you answer it this way. It can be like what's in your head and bringing it onto paper, so that when you do bring on a team member in the future, they're gonna, they can kind of run with it. They're not gonna have to come to you every 5 seconds and ask you, what do I do about this? What do I do about that? And then you're out on vacation and nothing works. So that would be my first recommendation for you is pick one topic in your business, or one, I guess, for you, maybe like look at what do people come to you most for help right now, or what do they want from your brain that's in your brain. Get that onto paper first. Does that kind of help?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
And I
Cool.
think writing in books is probably going to be how I do that.
Yeah.
That to me, then it goes out and other people understand, and then they can ask the questions and, ask for other things from the archive. Thank you. I really
Yes.
appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. I'm glad I can help. um so let me get to the next slide here. um So yeah, most businesses don't need more tools, and that kind of answers your question, Chris. They just need more clarity before they automate, or just more clarity as they're automating. So I created this free resource. Here, let me switch to the next screen, um, to help guide you guys. And Val, this might be useful to you as well, to help get things out of your brain. But basically, it's going to help you evaluate whether a process is actually automation ready, um, identify where things break, decide where to start instead of trying to fix everything. Because it's not technical. Oh, sorry, the guide is not technical. It's not meant to be overwhelming. It's really just meant to be a clarity tool. I did put a QR code on the screen. And I'm going to leave this up for a minute here so you guys can grab it if you like. But it's really just a practical framework. You can use it immediately. It will walk you through how to get started, and then you can do it over and over again, essentially, on different systems and things in your business. Awesome. I'm going to wait for a second, just give everyone a chance. Okay, everyone get a chance to scan it? Okay, I'm going to move on. So if you're taking nothing else from today, I want you to remember this. Your business isn't disorganized, it's just outgrown its systems. So you need to focus on clarity first, systems second, and then automations third. So remember that: clarity first, systems second, automation last. And that order really does matter. You can't start with automations, it's just going to create chaos in your business. Okay. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate your time. And I did want to also offer, if anybody here would like to sit down with me on a one-on-one, to kind of dig deeper into their systems, we can kind of do that one-on-one sit down, talk about what you have going on. I will give you recommendations on what I think is best for you, for how to move forward. And I also want to open up the floor for any questions right now from you guys.
Do you have a
Go for
schedule
it.
link?
Sorry?
Sorry, do you have a schedule link?
Yeah, let me put it in the chat.
Awesome.
While
And
you're
Matt,
while you're doing that, one of the things I look back on, and having, over a 50-year career, technology, everything changes. And that I had a interesting thing happen to me the other day with my crypto account. And I was trying to withdraw some money and that put it into something else. And it just kept giving me an error message. And I went to my bank. I had something that I had to do with the branch manager, and he said, "Oh, the those guys use Plaid, and we changed our security systems, and Plaid didn't want to update, so we can't work with Plaid." And I'm going, here's an international financial company, and they can't come to an agreement. And right now, I can't get my money out of my crypto account.
Yeah.
But I think it's the bigger picture for all of us. We need to understand that things do change, and for our customers, we have to make it easier, not harder. And that, I've been with the same banking. It's actually the location. There's been four different bank owners there, and they're all international banks. So I stay with that location, but it's like, okay, I'm going to walk away. I am going to get my money out of my account from the crypto company, and I'm going to put it someplace else because they're not working with the people I do business with. How do we avoid that? How do we recognize when these things are happening and we're frustrating? We've all been into the point when we get on a system when we call and you can't get out of the damn robot that is answering until you start screaming at the thing. You feel dumb that you're yelling at the phone, but you got to get through. And we've all learned how to try to bypass in our own way. How do we take care of
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, and I think that's why I mentioned it's super important to it's not that you're not disciplined in your business and thing. It's really just that business evolves, your company grows, so things are always changing. It's not you can't build one set of systems and then they work forever. That's like that would be really cool, but but it's unfortunately not possible. So my recommendation on that is I like to first recommendation is work with someone that really knows systems, even if it's on like a fractional basis or doing a periodic call to keep up with what's going on and what the trends are, right? So that's kind of one recommendation. The second recommendation is take time to walk through your client journey. So for your customers, so take time periodically, whether that's like every 3 months, every 6 months, whatever it is, to walk through the journey that your customer's going through. So for that bank, for example, they probably could have fixed that if they had taken the time to actually like walk through the process and be like, okay, this is an issue. How do we fix it? And that's how you kind of catch on to what are those things that are happening, and how do we evolve with it, how do we change it, how do we make it work again, how do we keep our customers satisfied, so those are just continuous questions. And if you're not into technology, into systems like me, for example, um, then yeah, like I said, my recommendation is work with someone who really loves the techie stuff. Whether that's just sitting down periodically and being like, let's go through this, let's make sure it works, or whether that's having someone on your team consistently that keeps up with that stuff. So that's my recommendation there.
Any other questions from anyone? I see that Fabienne did put her calendar in the chat. I recommend that you save the chat. Fabienne, I think that was a terrific introduction to who you are and what you do.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
I
Yeah,
really
totally agree.
I really
Yeah.
appreciate, these are the types of things, and that I've always referred to what I do as I sell boxes. It's a brown corrugated box. Whatever's in the box has to be top shelf. And what we're doing with the veterans group is we're putting a veterans ribbon on the box. Um, but we don't all understand beyond what our box is. How do we get that box from point A to point B? And I think that what I've learned with working with you for, I guess, almost 2 years now, um, it is that I don't have to have all the answers. I just need to know to ask you what questions. And what I've enjoyed actually is a lot of times you already have the answers. But
Yeah.
for a young person, you don't try to impress, with your knowledge. You've said to me, I don't know, but I know where I can go get the answer. I'll get back with you. And I love that part of it because tech is changing so rapidly that we need to know who to get in touch with and how do we get the answers and have the faith in those people that they're going to take care of our business for us. So,
Yeah. I was actually just talking with Eric this morning, Eric Goodman.
yep.
And it's funny that you mentioned that because even as a system strategist, tech evolves so fast. Like, I don't know everything. I'm not like an all knowing human being who knows everything. Um, but I know where to go to find it. I know how to get you the answer that you need. And I understand how each system works to a very detailed degree to where I can figure it out very quickly versus you spending, you know, however many hours trying to figure it out. So yeah, we just spoke about that this morning. So it's funny you bring it up.
And Eric's good. So,
Yeah.
guys, any last minute questions? All right, I am going to